Hey friends, and welcome to my Tuscan kitchen. Today we're going to make Tuscan chicken. This recipe is updated from the previous recipe I did. In this recipe we're going to use cherry tomatoes, which have a nice sweet flavor. This is chicken breast with a sauce made with tomatoes, onion, mushroom, cream, oregano, and I'm serving it here over mashed potatoes. It's quick and easy to make, and it's delicious. So let's review the ingredients that we're going to need to make this great dish. We're going to start with about a pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast. You could use thigh if you'd like. We need a little bit of onion, either shallot or green onion or regular onion, a little bit of garlic, mushroom, and we're going to be using cherry tomatoes. They're nice and sweet and fresh. For the sauce, we'll use some cream and Parmesan cheese, oregano, salt, and pepper. Now, if you'd like, you can use, instead of the cherry tomatoes, you can use sun-dried tomatoes. These come in a jar with a nice Italian flavor to them. They're really good. And this is the traditional way to make it, but today I'm using a new recipe with cherry tomatoes. And we also are going to use a little bit of butter. We can use some no-salt seasoning if you'd like extra flavor. I'm going to use olive oil, and I'm also going to use baby spinach. We need about 3 cups of baby spinach or chopped regular spinach. I've put a complete list of the ingredients in the description box below. So we're going to start with our boneless, skinless chicken breast. You want to make sure it's fairly thin cutlets. You can pound them, you can slice them if you'd like to make them a little thinner so they cook more quickly. We're going to spice them with salt and pepper. And then we're also going to use oregano in this recipe. And if you'd like to, you can add onion salt, garlic salt, whatever spices that you like. It's all up to your palate. But I'm just going to use salt, pepper, and oregano today. And we're going to make sure we season them on both sides. So we're going to flip them over.
It's going to be for pasta.
Get the other side seasoned, and then we'll get these into a nice pan. We've got our pan on the stove warming up, and as soon as it's starting to get a little warm, we're going to add some olive oil and butter, and then we'll get these chicken breasts. We're going to cook them thoroughly. We're not just going to brown them. They're going to cook completely in the pan. So now that everything is nice and seasoned, another thing you can do is season these ahead of time to really let the flavor soak in. So we've turned the stove onto a medium-high heat, put a little olive oil. About a tablespoon or 2 should do it. And we're going to also add some butter. If you put butter by itself without the olive oil, it will have a tendency to burn because it's got a lower smoke point. The olive oil helps prevent the butter from burning. And I like the flavor that butter gives to the chicken breast. So here's a little pat of butter we're going to add. We're going to spread that around and mix it in with the olive oil. And you don't want your heat on too high. You don't want anything burning, but you do want it nice and brown. Okay, our pan is ready for the chicken. So let's get those seasoned chicken breasts into the pan. There are a lot of recipes that start by using chicken breasts that you take and you have them thinly pounded or thinly sliced. And then you can add all kinds of different sauces to them. You know, you can make chicken marsala the same way. But this is a little bit different flavor. The Tuscan chicken has got the real nice tomatoey, garlicky flavor, and it's really delicious. Really nice change of pace. So we're going to let this chicken cutlets cook on one side for about 3 or 4 minutes because we actually want them to cook all the way through. After they've cooked on one side, we'll flip them over, and we're going to put the lid on the pan because, as I said, we want them to be thoroughly cooked. So we're going to put the lid on and cook them for about another 5 minutes. And having the lid on the pan will help to conserve the moisture and it won't evaporate out. So it'll be a good start for our sauce. So about 5 minutes has gone by. The chicken is done. Look at all that liquid in there. We made our own broth. It's going to be really great for cooking the vegetables in. So we'll remove the chicken to a plate. And I've got all my other ingredients prepped and ready to go. So we're going to just start putting them in. That chicken looks really nice. And it is cooked all the way through. I cooked it for about 10 minutes and the lid was on for most of that time. So first we're going to add our green onion. If you prefer, you could add regular onion or shallots, but I'm using green onion today because I thought it would complement the flavor of the cherry tomatoes nicely. So we're going to let this green onion saute for a minute or two. It doesn't need to be too long because green onion is a little softer or a little more delicate than regular onion. And the next ingredient we're going to add is our mushrooms. Mushrooms are a little bit dry by nature, and when they cook in a liquid like this, they tend to absorb some of the good flavors and the moisture. So this will be absorbing some of that butter and the onion and the garlic. Delicious. And we do put the garlic in a little bit later than the first ingredients. Here's our garlic. We're going to put that in a little bit later because it has a tendency to burn and lose its flavor if you put it in too early in the cooking process. Now we add our cherry tomatoes, about 2 cups of cherry tomatoes. And we're going to let the tomatoes cook until they soften. And this might take just a few minutes. I think it should take about 4 to 5 minutes or so. But I'm just going to sit here and stir this continually while it's cooking. Wait for it to get softer. And this is all a matter of choice. If you prefer to have your tomatoes a little less soft, you can certainly not cook them as long and they'll be a little more, have a little more substance to them than if you cook it thoroughly like I'm going to do. So it's all up to you. Well, everything's beginning to meld together and the flavors are merging and marrying nicely. The tomatoes are getting soft, very soft, just like I wanted them. And I'm going to add, for a little more tomato flavor, a little bit of tomato paste. And that'll give the sauce a really nice orange color, orangey red. It'll be very beautiful with the contrast with the spinach and the greens in there. Okay, now we add our 1 cup of cream. You can use half and half if you want to watch your calories or cut down your cholesterol. But a cup of cream, you could even go to 1.5 cups. After fixing this, here's our 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. And wait till you see how quickly the Parmesan cheese will thicken up this sauce. It takes about 10 seconds. And you can literally see it thickening right before your eyes. Really nice. So there is our sauce, and the only thing left to do is to add our 3 cups of spinach. And as you may be aware, spinach, when it cooks down, it goes to practically nothing. So this 3 cups is going to cook down to be, just a little bit of green color in the sauce here. It's going to be really nice. And it just takes maybe 60 seconds or so for the spinach to soften. And once it does soften, our dish will be ready. All we have to do is add the chicken, and we'll be ready to eat.
Thanks, sweetheart.
So we're just going to mix this in a little bit. See how it's kind of cooking down. Spinach is famous for doing that.
I gotta get some dog cheese.
And it looks very nice. Smells delicious in here. We're going to add our chicken breasts back into the dish. And of course, with the juice. And this dish is ready to eat. I'm just going to sort of baste the chicken with the sauce a little bit here to kind of get it all covered. Now this dish you can serve over mashed potatoes, you can serve it over pasta, you can serve it over rice. Today I did cook pasta, and I have a plate of pasta here ready to go. So we're going to just put our chicken breast on this pasta and the little bit of sauce on the pasta. And if you like, you could actually cut this chicken breast up into smaller pieces, like if you have a family and you're feeding young kids. That's another option too, but it makes a nice presentation to have a whole breast on the plate here. So that's our dinner, our Tuscan chicken. Quick, easy, delicious. Very nice change of pace. Better than you can get in any restaurant. It is delicious. So I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe.